The last 2 years have wreaked havoc on our societies. Brexit, the COVID-19 pandemic, and most recently a war in Europe have weighed on our minds and caused high levels of anxiety. In the wake of these tragic statistics, mindfulness and meditation have risen in popularity as a method of coping with the turmoil all around us and all too often within us. Many, while acknowledging the benefits of technology, have recognised the benefits of a simpler, more grounded lifestyle. These range from minimalism, which promotes decluttering and a more intentional lifestyle, to cottagecore, which is all about embracing nature and spending time in more traditional pursuits such as gardening and reading. Whether from a desire to gain more control in life or a form of escapism, it is undeniable that living more mindfully does increase quality of life. Wellbeing centres such as the Wee Retreat in Glasgow, Scotland have been a sanctuary for those who are seeking to pursue mindfulness and wanting to live a slower and simpler life. So, I decided to pay a visit. So I am here with Vicky, the founder of the Wee Retreat. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. Welcome.
So today we're just going to chat a little bit about mindfulness and mental health, in particular in relation to the pandemic. So Vicky's just going to share some insights into that. She is a mindfulness and wellbeing practitioner who has created this retreat centre, as a space for wellbeing practitioners to come together and to provide just a sanctuary and a space where people in the community can come, slow down and spend some time looking after their mental health. So, the first question for this interview is, Vicky, how would you say over the last couple of years, in particular in relation to the pandemic, that people's mental health has been affected?
I would say massively. I think that during any intense period of crisis or fast change, it's extremely easy for the mind to just spiral, and it's that can have such detrimental effects on people's mental health and their overall well-being. So I think living through something like the pandemic has all the ingredients for real negative impact on people's mental health, and I think that we're seeing that and people are experiencing that. So yeah.
So for yourself as a wellbeing practitioner, and having had this centre open, and you opened it shortly before the pandemic, and I know that was quite an ordeal, kind of keeping it going throughout that. But how would you say that the mindfulness practices and classes that are taught here at the Wee Retreat have had a positive benefit on people's mental health in general, those who've come, but also on your own personally?
So the thing that kept me going through, one of the things I should say, that kept me going through the pandemic and being able to reopen and be present to welcome people back and to help them through their difficulties was just simply being present. And that's all mindfulness is. So if you take each moment of every day, just one moment at a time, you get through it with so much more ease. Because right now, there's usually very little problem. It's when the mind starts to get busy and wonder and takes everything into account, all the moments of every day and every day of every week and every week of every month and so on, that things become overwhelming. So the actual practice of mindfulness itself and just helping me stay present and me being able to share that with people that want to practice mindfulness here and with us. I think it's that simple, just taking one moment at a time and staying present. And in fact, during the pandemic, we had a wee we've got a wee blackboard as people walk up and down, and everywhere was stay safe, and we just changed our wee blackboard to say stay present. Words and thoughts can cause fear and panic, and that has a massive effect on our overall well-being.
Yeah, thank you for the answer. I feel like I'm getting a lot from this interview myself. So in terms of staying present and taking each day one at a time, what role do you think that physical retreat centres, such as the Wee Retreat, have to play in that and helping people to do that, maybe as opposed to or in comparison to virtual resources that are available?
So I think that whether it's virtual or in person, doing things such as mindfulness or yoga or other well-being practices to look after your well-being, they give you a needed pause, because we wake up every day and straight away we're on autopilot. Have to do this, on to the next thing. Usually we're doing the next thing before we've even finished the last thing, and we're not really present. So regardless of whether it's in person or online, I think retreat centres and wellbeing practices are crucial to your well-being, to give you that pause, to breathe, to connect with yourself. In terms of the benefits of doing that in person, you have the connectedness with your teacher in a way that you can't get online, but also with the people that you're practicing with. And sometimes physically taking yourself out of your everyday environment can be really beneficial in itself. So if you have somewhere like these studios that is set up for that purpose, you know, we have people who say, you know, they walk in and already their shoulders start to drop a little bit, and their breath kind of feels a little bit more calm, or, you know, just by being in the environment. So things like that are important. In saying that though, and I had never worked online for anything to do with well-being before the pandemic, it has its place and it has its benefits, and being able to do a relaxing meditation or a restorative yoga practice in your pajamas in your bedroom before you get into bed without having to then drive or you know, get a bus home or whatever, that has its benefits. And it's incredible how much you can build a community online. You see the same people doing the same class with you every week, and you have that few minutes of chat before, just like you would in person. And some people can't physically get to places. It's just not something that they can do. So I think that accessibility is really important. So it's been a learning curve for us to see that. And we do have some services still online, we have some hybrid, and we have some just in person as well. And I think that that's probably the way we'll carry on going. If the need is there and the demand is there, then we're happy to offer that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I know that I've personally benefited from the mindfulness classes, particularly the yoga classes offered here at the Wee Retreat, and I'm very grateful for this space. But for those who are perhaps watching who are new to mindfulness, maybe they're skeptical of it, or maybe they're just dipping their toes in the water of slowing down to take care of themselves. For those people who are watching where this is fairly new, what would your message be to them?
I think it would have to be to trust their instincts rather than listening to the thoughts in their head. Because the thoughts in their head will most likely be telling them 101 reasons why they shouldn't do it. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I should be doing this instead, the guilt, or as I say, lots and lots of excuses of why you shouldn't, or maybe it's not the right time, maybe it's not the right teacher, and your instincts will have led you to exploring it. So go with that and remain open in your kind of approach to just exploring something, and give yourself more than one go at exploring it, maybe even 3 or 4 or 5 before you decide if actually it's something that will be helpful for you or not. Because everybody needs different things at different times, because life is a constant, state of change. We are a constant state of change. So what we might find beneficial one week, or at some point in our lives, actually another kind of practice might be what's needed at a different time. So to just remain open to it, and listen to your gut rather than your head.
That's some fantastic answers and some really good insight. Thank you so much for taking the time for this interview and for sharing with the lovely people who are watching. I'm sure many people will gain some great benefit from this. Thank you very much. Yeah, me too. I hope one of my cameras didn't die in the middle of it. That was
Close your eyes.
Anxiety or worries, depression, even just people. No, that's a rubbish answer. I'm going to stop that. Answer that question again.
Mental health practices, the mindfulness practices, I should say, that are taught at the We Retreat. Yeah.